Have you ever wanted to make your own 2D story-driven game? That's exactly what PS Maker is built for. Story-driven games that focus on characters, dialogue, and storytelling. In today's tutorial, we're going to build a game from scratch using PS Maker. Even if you've never made a game before, by the end, you'll see how to build a map, how to use the event system, and also how to set up an NPC that you can talk to and interact with. Head over to PS Maker and start a new project. You can either start from scratch or start with an asset pack. The asset pack will give you all the default assets you need to start building really fast. But for this tutorial, we'll just be starting from scratch and adding in the assets individually, which is what I recommend for your own projects as well. Let's name our project Beginner Tutorial, and let's jump right in. The first thing we'll do is add a tile set so that we can start building our world. Click on the asset library and you'll see that there's a bunch of assets you can add into the game. What we're interested in is the tile sets. So let's add this nature tile set here. Once you've added the tile set, just click on a tile and select the draw tool with the rectangle option so that you can draw a nice area for your player to be in. Next, we'll add an auto tile. Auto tiles are essentially ways to add patches of terrain into your game. If you click on the terrains option here, you'll see that these are the default terrain stat are included within PS Maker. We can add a grass patch and a dirt patch. Simply click on the terrain and then you can see the auto tiles work as magic. We'll draw a nice little patch there and a dirt patch here as well. And we'll just make this one a little bit bigger. Now that we have the patches and the base terrain, it's also nice to add some details into your map. If you noticed, there's different tile layers that you can add your tiles to. We've been adding our tiles to the ground layer, but if we click on the details layer, we can add some different details on top as well. So we'll add some flowers here and a few more details over here as well, just to spice up the map. So now that we have our map terrain looking pretty good, we can add in some map objects as well. If you click on the asset library, we'll add a building object, and we'll also add a few nature objects. So now that I've added these objects, to draw them in the map, you just click on it and then plop them down where you like them to be. Great, now that our map is looking pretty good, we've got some objects, we've got some base terrain layers, and we have some details going on as well. Now we can test it out by heading over to the playtest tab and see how it feels like. So if you just press the arrow keys, you can walk around in your newly built map. But this is just an empty map right now. In order to make it more interesting, we have to add in some events and game logic. So let's head over to the events tab. This is basically the building blocks of your game. If you check out the add event button, you'll see that there's all these events that you can add into your game. Right now, we'll focus on the dialogue event, which is probably the most important event in story-driven games. Once you've added the event, simply type in your dialogue content within the event. We'll just say hello world. And then you can see that if we go to playtest again, the message will appear. Now that we have the dialogue event, we're ready to add an NPC into the game. Head over to the components page of PS Maker, click NPCs, and we'll add a new NPC. For now, set all the animations of this NPC to the default ghost animation. In the future, if you have custom animations for a character, it's really easy to add them in as well. So now that we have our NPC set up, we can add the spawn NPC event. Head over to the manage NPC category and we'll click on spawn NPC. Select the NPC that you just added and then set the position somewhere on the map. Now if we go back, we can click on another event and we'll make the NPC move. Add the move NPC event, select the NPC that you just added, and then select the movement path that you want it to take. We'll just have the NPC walk towards the player for now. Then we'll add another event. Let's do a dialogue event, and then we'll say, hello player, I am an NPC. If you head over to playtest, you'll see that the dialogue appears, the NPC spawns and walks over and also says it's dialogue. That's cool and all, but how do we make the player talk back to the NPC? Well, what we have to do is create an interaction. And in order to create interactions, we have to use event groups. Event groups are essentially a group of events that play together and you can bind them to a trigger. when you add them into the map. So let's create a new event group. We'll call this interact on NPC. And what we'll do is just add one event. We'll add a dialog event and say, hello, I am a player. So the idea is that when the player interacts on the NPC, then this dialog will appear. So let's add that into the map as well. Click on add to map, set the trigger to interact, and then we also want to set the trigger position to attach to the NPC. So we'll set it to NPC1, which is this NPC right here, and we'll keep the trigger area size 16. Well, actually, we'll make it a little bit bigger just so it's easier to interact on it. Now, it's time to head over to the playtest tab and see everything in action. So once the game loads, you'll see the NPC walk over, play its dialogue, and if we interact on the NPC by pressing the keyboard character Z, which is the interaction button, then the event group will play and show the dialogue. That's everything for this beginner tutorial, but of course, there's a lot more in PS Maker. There's many other game components, such as the inventory system. You can add audio into your game. You can have variables for different endings or player choices, and can also customize the dialogue screen. But we'll cover those more in depth in other tutorials. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, please like the video, and let me know in the comments what you're going to make in PS Maker.